Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So happy Saturday. Today I want to talk about not only Bitcoin, of course, but also some very promising crypto projects. These are L1, L2 crypto chains that have a lot of promise, and they have been moving quite a lot. So let's talk about all of these things and more. So welcome, guys. If I could fix my screen, we'll be on our way. Right now, the entire crypto market cap is still holding strong at 1.28 trillion. Bitcoin is holding at 30,300, right? But it does look like the excitement is back. The FOMO is back. Everything is moving. So it's just a matter of time. Bitcoin forms its next leg up. But right now, above 30,000 is absolutely fantastic. And you know what? 50,000 could be right around the corner. A lot of people are speculating where Bitcoin will end up in the next 2 to 3 months. And 50K is now a real possibility, according to many out there. Stock Money Lizards looking at this right here, looking at, again, the 2019 bottom, okay? And then pumping up 320% to this exact point, this Fibonacci retracement level, 38.2%, right? So Bitcoin went from like under around 3,100 all the way up to $14,000. So our cycle bottom was around 15,000. If we did the same thing, we hit the same Fibonacci point, we will be at $49,000. And right now, there are so many similarities between our current movement versus the 2019 movement, right? So does that mean it's about to come? And here's another bigger picture, that retracement point. You could see in 2019, after we hit it, Bitcoin did go down a little bit. Okay, it got a little weaker, mostly because of that nasty COVID sell-off. But had we not had that, we would have just went sideways a little bit and then boom, all the way up, right? So we're about to enter that phase, right? So are we going to hit that 49,000, 50,000 mark and maybe go sideways and maybe even retrace a little bit before the halving event, which then Bitcoin starts skyrocketing, right? It could happen, but there's also some people that think that, hey, you don't have to have it like that. Since everyone's expecting it, expect the unexpected. We may not have that retracement. We may not have that ceiling at 49K. Who's to say we can't just keep going before the halving event, right? There are a lot of people now also speculating that, hey, just because everyone's expecting it, that's usually when you want to counter trade it. But there are so many signals, charts that show that we are about to hit that range. Here's another one, Pi Cycle, and the same thing. You look at 2019, exactly the same thing happened. You have a couple moving averages. Bitcoin broke above, okay? And then it stopped at another moving average, which you could see is the B point, right? It happened even before in 2015. So it broke out from this 111-day moving average, and then it stopped or topped out at this 350-day multiplied by 2 moving average. Don't ask me why they chose that, but it seems to be working. And then look at 2023. We have just broken above. So it's the next stop where that B point is, right? Again, that's between $40,000 to $50,000. History doesn't repeat, but it tends to rhyme, and we are rhyming in a good fashion right now. But of course, long term, this is nothing compared to the 10 trillion market cap that could be coming for Bitcoin. 10 trillion market cap. And why do you think this is? Who came up with this number? Well, I think most people that truly believe in Bitcoin believes that Bitcoin can one day topple gold in terms of market cap. You can see Bitcoin is now bigger than Tesla by a couple billion, okay? That's pretty astonishing. So Bitcoin was a company, it would be like the 10th largest, actually the 8th largest, because 2 above it is gold and silver, right? But at one point in time, Bitcoin was above silver as well. But the ultimate goal is to be above gold. So that means not only do you have to have a 10 trillion market cap, but you got to have 13, 14 trillion. And that would place Bitcoin around $500,000 to $600,000 each. And that may just be the beginning too. Okay, there's no reason to think that, oh, once it surpasses gold, it just stops there. It could keep on going as it sucks up liquidity from all markets from around the world, not just the US thing, from around the world. So 600,000 Bitcoin may be just the beginning, just the beginning. So think about that. Think about that. And this guy right here, I don't know who he is, but he wrote something nice about how people just don't know how scarce Bitcoin is. He makes this argument that treasuries pay you back in monopoly money. It is, if you think about it. Fiat, USD, pound, sterling, franc, euros, they're all monopoly money because the central banks can print infinite amount of them. So yes, monopoly money. Just like in Monopoly, it says that the bank never runs out of money. It's the same thing with central banks because they can print more. And commercial real estate is really suffering. Really suffering. Especially if you take into account the future when the AI robots of the world will replace humans that click on a keyboard, right? Then you're going to need less real estate. So bottom line is you go with Bitcoin. Doesn't matter if you're in recession or you have hyperinflation or if you have nothing else to invest in and you simply want to bet on the fastest horse. You go with Bitcoin, and there's only 21 million. That's it. There's not even enough Bitcoins to go around to the world's millionaires. There's more millionaires on the planet than there are whole Bitcoins, okay? Think about that. So, pretty good stuff. Now, that is Bitcoin, right? What about some other altcoins, crypto projects? I know a lot of you guys are very excited right now because it seems like we're in kind of like a mini altcoin season, right? Something like that. I would say it's a mini. It's definitely not full-blown altcoin season, but a lot of you guys know that ETH certainly went up recently after their big upgrade. I told you guys that. Right now it's above 2,100 and it's been there for a couple of days. But now you're starting to see some excitement with others. Cardano having a 6% day. You know, that doesn't come very often. And then you see others in here that have double-digit days. OKB, one of the bigger exchanges. Arbitrum, I got to talk about Arbitrum. They are just climbing the ranks. And I'm going to go and make a huge, bold, wild prediction about Arbitrum. Okay, and I'm going to connect the dots. And I think you guys will think that it makes a lot of sense and why its potential is absolutely enormous at this point, even at a 2+ billion market cap, right? And then there's many others that are doing really good. So I want to cover some of them. Some of them I don't talk a lot about, but some of them I do. The first one is actually Woo Network. And they're still relatively small. 22% day to day. But if you look at the week, it has been absolutely killing it. You look at the month, pretty good too. It went sideways and boom, it's really the last week. Why did Woo Network go up? What does this have to do with the current mini altcoin cycle? Well, first of all, Woo Network, they're like a CeFi DeFi play. They have trading platforms for both. Okay, they have their own DEX and they also have their own platform where it's hooked up to the centralized exchanges. So they're kind of like in both. Okay, but what's interesting about them is they have, at least their DEX, they do have chains that's spreading across or network support with chains like Arbitrum, like ZK Sync, some of the most popular L2s out there. So I definitely think they are being carried up right now by the popularity of some of these other chains, right? So I looked into their blog report for Q1. ZK Sync, I've been telling you guys about the big rise of ZK Sync, but also Arbitrum. They got actually a huge deposit of Arbitrum in here from the DAO. So these two things absolutely make a big difference with their DEX. And then their SEX, which is their centralized play, right? Basically, they allow people to trade in a very easy manner with zero fees on both of their platforms. But right now, I do think it really has to do with the integration. And also, this doesn't hurt. They were part of the Hong Kong Web3 Festival, and you know that Hong Kong is trying to go big with crypto right now, right? They're trying to become like the new crypto hub of Asia, not just China, but Asia, trying to pull companies away from Singapore and Dubai. They want to be the ultimate Web3 because it seems like China wants to take advantage of the situation right now, especially in the US, because of heavy scrutiny of the SEC and Gary Gensler, right? They want to become the dominant country for Web3, right? So this maybe have helped too, right? And they were there, so maybe there's that. Okay, so Wu Finance, I saw that did really well. Injective also has been absolutely killing it. Today, they pulled down a little bit, but look at the 3-month chart. They've been absolutely killing it from $1.60 3 months ago to $8 now. They're one of the greatest performers of this year so far. And still, relatively small market cap of 600 million, right? What is happening with Injective? Well, Injective is, they're basically their own L1. But they're, I would say, the most promising L1 within Cosmos ecosystem, right? So I believe that Injective, and there's a few others out there in Cosmos that's really leading the way, but there's more that's coming out. But they are like one of the more promising L1s in Cosmos, and they're just really built for all things, but specifically financial stuff, right? And Mark Cuban is also invested into them, and so is Pantera, and so is Binance. So they're actually backed by a lot of stuff right now. But recently, what's been happening? A few things. They're integrating Pyth Network. I don't know how you say that, but they are a big oracle. They're a giant oracle that not only integrates with many chains, but also with many financial institutions out there. And when I say many, who are they, right? Like big guys like Jane Street and CBOE, and also with the big exchanges, right? So they're kind of oracle for a lot of financial, legacy financial systems, but you can't ignore them, and crypto systems. So they do seem like they're like a big Chainlink kind of competitor, but they already have partnerships with some of these other big boys who utilize them for the same reason, right? So they did integrate with them recently. Also, their TVL is rapidly increasing to 500 million already, which is actually a whole lot if you think about it. But also, for Solana fans, they're launching their testnet, right? So that Solana dApps can come on board into Cosmos. This is the first of its kind. We hear about all these chains creating EVM compatibility. Very little creates it for Solana, because Solana doesn't have a problem with scaling, right? But Solana does have problems with network outages, which Cosmos does not, and Injective does not. So I think that's the reason why they're like trying to pull in Solana dApp makers to something else just as good, just as fast, without all the network outages. So that could be the reason, right? So first of its kind, and there's a lot of other good stuff. So that's why Injective has been absolutely on fire. And And it looks like they may continue on. But it gives me hope for Cosmos, because Cosmos is actually kind of stagnant at this point, right? But there's a lot of good chains being built within Cosmos right now. All right, and then lastly, let's talk about Arbitrum, which ever since its airdrop, it found a bottom like $1.30 something. No, $1.15, $1.16, and since then it's been climbing up, right, in a big, big way, and it is now above $2.1 billion, right? So you guys know about Arbitrum. They're the biggest L2 for Ethereum right now. Okay, they are using ZK technology to scale, so they don't really have problems with congestion and fees, and that is why you could see Arbitrum is number. I'm going to remove Tron because I think Tron is total BS and they're faking their numbers. So it's really Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain is number 2, Arbitrum number 3, then you have Polygon and Optimism. Okay, Arbitrum is already at number 3. Behind, they're about halfway Binance Smart Chain. Obviously, Ethereum is leading the way. Then you have Binance Smart Chain. Then you have Arbitrum, right? And in case you're wondering, what is TVLs? Total value locked. That means all the liquidity, like coins or tokens that are locked into liquidity pools or bridges or other platforms within the chain. It measures all that, so it gives you a broad perspective of how much liquidity is locked in the chain. So Ethereum, obviously, Big Daddy, close to 60% of everything. But Binance is pretty big, Binance Smart Chain, then you have Arbitrum. Here's the thing, though. So I'm going to go on a wild prediction, and this is, I think, the reason why some people are aping into Arbitrum right now. This is not exact science, and I have done this before. You know, with stocks, with traditional companies, right? PE ratio is a good guide of how to evaluate a company. Sometimes it's totally out of whack, okay? Sometimes a company has no profits at all. So PE ratio is just infinite, basically. But for a lot of companies, like tech companies, you could look at like Microsoft or Apple, you know, they're like 10 ratio for PE, meaning their profit versus earnings. Their earnings are usually like, 10x, basically. No, their stock price is like 10x more than this ratio compared to profits and earnings. That's what I mean, right? But with crypto companies, you don't have profits. No one's measuring profits, okay? Some of these projects do have a lot of, they collect gas fees and so forth, right? Network fees, stuff like that. But it's not really looked at as profit, okay? But another way to look at these projects is by how much value there is, right? This TVL, how much liquidity is locked into those chains. So if you look at Binance Smart Chain, Binance BNB is at 52 billion, okay? And you look at, compared to Ethereum, that's like, 5x away, right? But if you look at liquidity, you times this by 5, you would argue that, okay, maybe Binance Smart Chain is a little undervalued versus Ethereum because this is a 6x difference, but in terms of price, it's 5x. It's close. It's not exact science, just pointing the stuff out. But then here's the thing. Look at what Arbitrum is above. Polygon. Polygon has 1.13 billion, and they are number 4 on the list. But where is Polygon sitting on CMC? Polygon is sitting at number 9 with close to 11 billion market cap. 11 billion, okay? So obviously that's 5 times higher than Arbitrum's market cap right now at 2.1 right here, 2.2, right? So roughly Polygon is 10 times more expensive than Polygon. But here's the thing. Arbitrum has more than double Polygon's TVL already. So if you're doing some math there, if Arbitrum has more than double Polygon's TVL and Polygon is sitting at $11 trillion, does that mean that Arbitrum should be worth $20 billion? It kind of makes sense, right? It kind of makes sense. And a BNB is worth $52 billion, and it's roughly double of Arbitrum, right? And that means you take 52 billion, divide by half. Well, again, you got like $20 billion, $25 billion. So I'm just going to make a wild prediction that if you could equate TVL with market cap, obviously this only works for bigger projects, ones that have a lot of liquidity and have a lot of users and usage and dApps already. This could be a light gauge. I don't know if it's a good gauge, but a light gauge, right? So I'm just going to throw a wild prediction that Arbitrum could be in the top 10 in the future, commanding a market cap of something like $20 to $25 billion, which means at its current rate, that's a 10x from here. I don't think that's wild to assume based on how much dApps and TVL there already is. So just going to throw that out there for you guys. I may be 100% wrong, but the way I see it is they are just so big, so killing it right now. It could happen. It could happen. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, let me scroll down from the top. Another George, that's a member. George the Third, welcome. Let's see here. Scrolling. Will the crypto market tank this summer? Dennis? You decide. I'm not even going to bother answering that. Let's see. Scrolling down. Pan, you said Arbitrum could be top 10. What about OP? Any predictions? Well, do the same math. Apply the same math. Optimism is a little bit under Polygon. So can that mean they go right down here? Maybe. Could be top 10, maybe top 11 or 12. Optimism is also doing very well. Hello from Toronto. Robert, any thoughts on everyone's least favorite? Gary Gensler testifying before Congress next week. If you had one question for him, what would you ask? I don't know, Robert. I don't think about Gary Gensler at all. So I don't sit around and think about, hey, what question should I ask him? So honestly, I don't know. Peter, thoughts on Elron branded Multiverse X? They already did it like months ago. I think you're a little late to the game. I think it's a horrible name, and it's not going to help them. A rebranding like that doesn't help. There are a lot of projects with really bad names, okay, really bad names, but they still do relatively well. It's really nothing new. People already know them by Elron. Now, you just alienated like 90% of your base because now they don't even realize that Elron doesn't exist anymore. Dot, Moonbeam, and Chainlink have been pretty flat. Hope they get a pump. Polkadot itself, I just don't hear much about Polkadot. You know, like all this other excitement are coming from other chains. Other chains, their L1s or L2s or, their side chains, something. I don't hear anything about parachains from Polkadot. I know Moonbeam is the biggest and they're EVM compatible, but Moonbeam, what's their TVL at? I don't even know if it's in here. Or it's Moonbeam's at 36 with 50 million. So they're not attracting a lot of dApps right now. They're not. So someone just asked about Elrond. They only have 67. So they're like really not gaining much. That's why like Arbitrum, I think, has so much potential because they already have 239 protocols that supports them, and their TVL skyrocketing, while all these other guys, they're barely making a dent. And TVL is important because TVL allows for creation of DeFi apps, which also helps with staking, right? And ultimately helps with taking coins out of circulation, and also helps with just network activity and volume and all that stuff. I mean, everything that's measurable, right, really gets affected by TVL and DeFi and trading and staking and all those things that happen on top of a chain. Be the G. Thank you. When you stake your ETH, where are you going? I don't know. I haven't thought about staking ETH for a long time, so I don't know. If I could do it within Trust Wallet, I don't know if they enabled it, but I try to do it from one of my wallet, Trust or Ledger. I haven't looked into it, so honestly, I don't know. But just try to do it from your own wallet if you can. That's the safest. Otherwise, you could do it on an exchange. A lot of exchanges allow that too. But I have to look more into it. I have a ton of BAT. Its future. You know what? To be honest, I don't know BAT's future. No one's talking about it. Their Brave browser is still okay, but I don't hear much about their digital advertisement system, their built-in DEX, their wallet. I don't hear anyone talk about these things. So I'm hoping that, they could pull through, but all these utility things that are built for BAT are not being used. So I don't know, but the browser is still fantastic. Warriors are not going to win again. Lakers are going to win. I don't know. But Lakers need better defense. Phantom is very undervalued, but they don't have the daily users. Phantom, I still like. They're L1, L2, right? Their TVL isn't bad. I mean, they're not bad overall. 1.4 billion, right? Phantom's number 7 on the list. 473 million. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. If you think about Phantom has more TVL than Solana and Kava, which is also within Cosmos. More than Clayton, more than Cardano, Algorand. So that's why I think Phantom is actually pretty good and underrated. Avalanche, let's not forget Avalanche is out there, close to 900 million. Avalanche is also a very good project. I like Avalanche a lot too. And Avalanche is sitting up here, right? So I think Phantom is undervalued at this point too. Can you buy ZK Sync? No. They will do an airdrop in the future, but they don't have any coins right now. The Celtics are probably the most rounded team, but I can't stand Tatum. I can't stand that team. I can't stand the Celtics. I'd rather see the Suns win than the Celtics. No, I take that back. No. I would not want to see the Suns win. I never want to see Kevin Durant win another ring ever again. And I can't stand Devin Booker. He's probably the most hated guy in my book. that whole team is just so soft. But I don't like the Celtics either. But I'd rather see Celtics win than the Suns win. Crypto Black. You know what? A lot of people ask me to go to NFT NYC, but I'm scared of New York City. I don't know. I have opportunity to go again next month, but I don't know. Man, the city is just like so big. I don't know what to do there. Mike, I'm not a fan of Render Token on Render Network. They're moving to Solana, but basically it allows you to rent GPU processing power from people that want to rent it out, right? It made less sense when it was on Ethereum. I guess if they move to Solana, maybe it'll help, but I think people associate the project with AI. That's why it started pumping, but it really has nothing to do with AI. But I guess maybe it could be used for AI purposes. Still, I've never been a big fan of them. Hit up all the steakhouses in New York. I don't know. Tim, if you've been paying attention to my Twitter, you would know, no, I'm not going to be a judge on Killer Whales TV show because I'm already a judge on a better show called The Next Crypto Gem, which is actually going to be distributed worldwide on TV, and a lot of excitement. And we already got done filming, right? So it's not like still in process. We already filmed, and season 2 may be filming at the end of this year. Very, very exciting. We are going to go big, absolutely big. Project is backed by a very prominent businessman and backed by this other company. But yeah, really looking forward to it. The show will come out in June or July, right? I think it's going to be July, but we may start filming season 2 end of the year so that it comes out early 2024 before the halving event, because then I think the timing of it would be perfect. Alex Mashinsky was running away from Bitcoin in New York City. Is that real? That would be funny. New York City is fine. Just plan where to go. Remember, no, I would be going for like a conference. So I don't know, like if I'm going anywhere besides just staying around the conference. But like, man, I'm just looking at Google Maps. It's so freaking big to visit places. I mean, it just seems like it's wild. Even from the airport, it's an hour drive to the hotel in Midtown. I don't know. I've never been to New York City. That's why. I've been to every other major city in the U.S. I think they're all fine. Most of them. I haven't been to Boston yet. But New York City just seems like to be like a whole other beast. Come to Rotterdam, the Netherlands. I'll buy you a beer joint if you like. Well, maybe someday. Netherlands, I don't know. That's not a destination I'm planning on anytime soon. I think there's a lot more places I want to visit first. I never stay in New York for more than 3 days. All right, guys. Let's conclude. Overall, You know what? There's a lot of hot plays right now besides Bitcoin being hot and heading to 50,000 in the near future. You got a lot of L1s, a lot of L2s, a lot of DeFi plays. They're all catching on fire. So today I covered some of them, but there's a lot more out there. So exciting time, guys. Stay strong, stay thirsty, and I will see you guys tomorrow. 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Take care, guys. Bye-bye.